our first guest today says that you can succeed financially with a business and yet not be a perfect human being. Do you believe it?
I do. I think this is great.
In fact, her own struggles with business startups left her depressed, anxious, and even suicidal.
Now she writes about the ups and the downs of life and a career, hoping that you can understand and make the know that failures can be important in your life sometimes.
Yes, that's right. So here we are with Keller Fitzsimmons. She has a master's degree from Harvard University. She's a mom of 2 and also started 6 businesses over the course of 20 years.
Wow, and if that wasn't enough, she also wrote a book. Yes, take a look. It is called Lost in Startuplandia. Today, she joins us to tell us about how the one thing that you can do to improve the quality of your life.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here.
So good. Let's talk about your journey and why you decided to even start this book.
Well, it really came out of a health crisis. I had been working so hard over the course of my career that I let my self-care go. And I wasn't paying attention to what was really important, which was taking care of my health. And in 2016, I ended up having a pretty dramatic health issue and crisis, and I lost my ability to read.
No way.
Yeah, and so it turned out to be a brain injury that was brought on by toxic mold in our house. And we had just completely missed it. And so anyway, long story short.
Was that permanent?
Yeah. So the good news is I'm reading again today.
Okay.
I was able to remediate it, but it was a really long journey. My brain needed to heal, which meant I spent a lot of time in bed.
Yeah.
And I was having migraines. I wasn't able to listen to music or to watch movies, so I'm just in bed. And what I ended up doing was basically dictating this book. And when it finally, I got the proof back, my reading actually had come back online, and I was able to edit and rewrite it, because my thinking felt very clear inside my head, but when I read the transcript, I'm like, oh no, oh no. So I ended up rewriting it, and it came out in May of this year.
That's incredible. I mean, to go through all of that and do something moving forward at the same time where you're going through such an awful situation. I think to have that end goal and such, you know, one of the things you talk about is succeeding and success and failure, and how both of those things can be okay.
Yeah.
How you can be imperfect and yet succeed very clearly. What does success mean to you? What does it mean to succeed?
So I'm very lucky. I have a fantastic role model in my life.
Yes, you do.
I do. So my father is a very successful entrepreneur.
We've met your father.
Yes, he's been
on
on with his book. And so, like any good kid who's trying to impress their dad, like, look, Dad, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. Look, Dad, I wrote a book. I did it right on the heels of his book. And part of it, because I wanted to really tell his story too to a wider audience, my audience, so startup entrepreneurs. And because he set the bar so high in terms of success. Today, a lot of times, if people make a lot of money, we consider them successful.
Yes.
The truth is, they can be very failed as human beings. They've torched relationships, they're cruel to their employees, they're not good people, and I don't feel like they're good role models. My dad did something completely unprecedented. When he decided to transition his company, he walked away from $100 million to turn over the company to the people he credited for his success. And in so doing, you know, he created line machinists who are millionaires. And isn't that, it's just such a cool,
incredible.
It's such a cool story. And in Startuplandia, my world of tech startups, we don't really think about this. We talk about flipping companies and go fast and go big or go home. And we don't really think about legacy. And so my father succeeded on 2 levels. He succeeded financially and as a person.
And is that what you're hoping that other entrepreneurs will understand? That they need to think about the broader? That it's not just about them and it's about other people?
Absolutely. It's about everybody that you come in contact with. You are the product of, you know, of a constellation. No star shines without a constellation. And it's the people around us that really make us great, that hold us up and hold us accountable. And so often the narrative of pulling ourselves up by our own bootstraps and I'm my own man or woman or whatever, it's just a lie. Right. And unfortunately we perpetuate this lie, and it hurts people and it hurts communities, because at the end, when we're really successful, we need to give back. We need to credit those who helped us, and we have to give back to our communities too.
What I think is interesting about the story with your father is, for years and years and years, your father is Donald Baumgartner.
Yeah.
And you did not admit or tell anyone that he
no.
was your father.
Oh, no.
And I think to your credit, because you didn't want to ride on his heels.
No.
You know, you wanted to have your own, stand on your own 2 feet and truly create your own thing and not have people even know you're connected. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty incredible, I think, you know, as people kind of look at what you've accomplished as well. You said that there is something that, one thing that all of us can do to change the quality of our lives. What can we
Absolutely.
all do to do that?
Invest in our relationships. So we are really the product in some of the
I love that
people
you're saying
around
that
us.
coming from the tech industry.
Right? It's so true. I mean, but it's like you have to
away from
live
your
the
computer and
opposite.
look at something.
Yeah, we got to get away from the screens. We actually have to invest in the quality of relationships. And what that means is cultivating truth tellers, which means that we have people around us that are willing to give it to us straight and straight consistently. Because without that kind of feedback, that tough love feedback, we're really flying blind. And so often in entrepreneurship, the first thing we torch is our relationships. We don't want to hear the negative news. We don't want to have the spouse that's saying we're working too hard or working too much or we're not taking care of ourselves. And so we let those relationships go when they're the most important thing to us. And that's true for everybody. The quality of our relationships actually will make a huge difference in our ability to make good decisions because they help us triangulate.
So listen to the people around you who may not be telling you the yes man or yes woman thing.
Totally.
And in your book, for people that are going to read this, take us through a little bit of that journey. Why should I get the book?
So it's really a book that I wish I had when I was in my 20s and I hit my first failure. And my first failure was pretty cataclysmic. I had a company fail in the dot-com crash, and I was personally guaranteed for $5 million.
Responsible for it.
Yeah, and so I had to figure out my way through it. And this is the book I wish I had. It's a field guide, and it's really designed to sort of walk you through failure and allowing you to learn from it. Because it's not a friendly guide, but failure is our best teacher.
Sure is.
And if we can learn the lessons that we're being handed in these crises, we don't just develop better as a business person, but we develop better as people. And that's what really the gift of failure is. It's true personal development on steroids.
Absolutely. I mean, they relate it to muscle growth. A muscle doesn't grow unless you get it to failure.
Absolutely.
It's the same with us personally. And I
Yeah.
think that's such an important lesson that you're sharing, an important field guide for people too. So I want to make sure people can meet you. You're doing a signing and a meeting. You'll also be speaking at the Fall Xperiment, which is October 4th and 5th at the Wisconsin Center. They can also get your book at your website, which is lostinstartuplandia.com for more. I love what you're doing. I love your message. I think it's great.
too.
So keep it up.
Thank you so
Keller,
much.
so happy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate
Thanks for
it.
being here.
Take care.